we have to vote Democrat. That's the only reason. That's the only reason we are voting Democrat, because when it comes to our values, when it comes to who we are, we're conservatives. We are absolutely conservatives. And Donald Trump has come and said, what do you have to lose? And remember, he was maligned for that, right? He was maligned for that. They told him, how dare you say that to a bunch of black people? How dare you say, what do you have to lose? It's the truth. What do we have to lose? What have Democrats given us? What have they done for us? I really want to know, because from the 1800s, right, when blacks were slaves, the Democrat Party was the blacks are property party. And then you go to the Civil Rights era, 1960s, it was segregation. When you talk to people, they say, well, I have to vote Democrats because I've been told I have to vote Democrat my entire life. Why is that the case? Why have we been enslaved by the Democrat Party? Why have we been told for so long that the only thing that we can do is vote for people who want to enslave us, who want to mind-think us, who want to make us seem that we have no choice other than vote for them? And Donald Trump came along and said, no, you actually don't have to vote Democrat. No, you don't actually have to be a liberal, because liberal values don't align with what you believe. And what do they want to do? They want to impeach him, right? They want to impeach the president because he has freed black people, because you have a president who has gotten the lowest unemployment rate ever, literally ever, lowest unemployment rate ever, and they want to impeach him for it. And what do they have to impeach him on? Can someone explain to me what impeachable offenses this president has committed? Can anyone explain it to me?
Making America great again.
Exactly. He's made America great, and that's why they are upset. That's why they want to impeach him, because he has made America great, he has helped black people, and the Democrat Party cannot survive unless black people are dependent on government. The Democrat Party cannot survive unless black people believe that they cannot accomplish things for themselves and believe that they are not able to lift themselves out of poverty and help themselves. And that is why Donald Trump is unpopular with the Democrat Party, because Donald Trump has told black people, you can do it for yourself. You don't need the government. You don't need us to tell you what you can achieve and what you can accomplish, because you can do it for yourself. That is why they want to impeach him. There's no crime. There's no collusion with Russia. There's no collusion with the Ukraine. There's no, now the new thing is Australia. Oh, he colluded with Australia. Really? Are you guys insane? Are you guys nuts? What? You guys are just pulling stuff out of your ass and then saying, this is why we want to impeach the president. And Spygate. I mean, it's just gotten to be absurd. And what have the you look at the Democrat politicians who are running for president, right? You've got Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. I mean, what's this guy? It's so funny. I say black people are probably the most traditional people, some of the most traditional people in America. And you've got, I was in an interview, and, some anchor, some, egghead on TV, was like, Mr. Miller, why Pete Buttigieg is polling at 0% with black people in South Carolina. Why is that? And I was like, I don't know. He certainly tries. He certainly tries to pander to black people. Every time Pete Buttigieg sees a black baby, he wants to take a picture with it. Anytime he sees, and he takes a picture, oh, excuse me, little baby, I'm polling at 0% with the black vote. Do you mind if I take a picture with you? Snaps a photo and just throws the baby aside. I mean, they view us as props. They view us as tools to get them elected. What Democrat actually cares about us? Anyone? What Democrat actually wants us to succeed? You've got Kamala Harris, who's throwing blacks in jail for weed, for smoking weed. She's pretending to care about the black community. You've got Cory Booker, who literally moved to Newark when he decided it would be politically expedient to do so. But he grew up in a nice household. He's not from Newark. That guy's not from Newark. That guy's fake. That guy's a phony. What is Barack Obama? What did Barack Obama do for the black community? Nothing. Barack Obama left the black community in shambles, and now he's hanging out in a 10,000 square foot mansion on Martha's Vineyard, while our people are still struggling. And they're talking about, you've got this Greta Thunberg, this little, where'd she come from? Who is this girl? This Greta Thunberg chick who came from across the lake. Who is this? Why do we care about what she has to say? We have communities that are actually hurting. We have communities that actually need help. We have people who actually have problems that our politicians could solve, that Donald Trump is solving, again, lowest unemployment ever, and we're worried about some 16, 16-year-old from across the Atlantic who says that she's gonna die because it's too hot? I mean, this is crazy, and this is who the Democrats care about. The Democrats do not care about you. The Democrats do not care about this country. And so at a certain point, you have to wonder, when can we wake people up? How do we wake more people up? And like I said, black people are much more, our values, and Latinos too, our values are conservative. The things that we believe in are conservative. I was raised in a household, we were told to fear God. We were told to work hard, we were told to hustle. We were told to actually not rely on anybody to give us anything, because no one's gonna care about you more than yourself, and you have to do it for yourself. And help, I mean, we didn't even recycle. we didn't even recycle. So why the hell are we voting for Democrats? Why the hell are we voting for these people whose values do not align at all with what we believe? It really is incredible. And then you have these people who say, well, you're heartless. We have these people who say, you don't care. The big problem is illegal immigration. These illegal immigrants, we have to do something for them. We have communities, black communities, inner city communities that are struggling, and yet our politicians' focus is on people who are not citizens, who have no right to be in this country, people who have literally broken into this country unlawfully, and we're supposed to be told that we're supposed to care about them more than we care about our own people. How is that acceptable? And how is that liberal? These people are tolerant, caring. They don't care about the communities. Mississippi, they had ICE raids, right? ICE came in and they went to families who were not living here legally, and they deported them. They rounded them up and they held them to trial. They deported them. That is what should happen to people who break into this country illegally. And you want to know what happened, though? You want to know what happened? They had to hold a job fair to fill the positions for all of those jobs that actually weren't able to be filled anymore. They had to hold a job fair. You want to know who showed up to that job fair? Black Americans. Black Americans who said, I want a job. These illegal immigrants have taken our job. Now I finally have a chance to get this job. And the illegal immigrants are the ones who are actually hurting our communities. They are the ones who, they come in, they have no legal right to be here, and communities who have low-income workers and people who just want to get by, their jobs are being taken away by these people, and we're told that we have to care for these people more than we care about our own citizens, and it's wrong. It's wrong. So I think that we have an obligation to help our communities. We have an obligation to help American citizens, and it's ironic because these liberals, they say we care so much about minorities. We care so much about the downtrodden. We care so much about people who don't have a shot. They don't care. They don't care about us. They care about their own power. They care about amassing their own wealth. They care about themselves, and that's it. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about anyone, frankly, except for themselves. And, they say, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Well, what about all of the lives that have been taken by the abortion mills? What about all of those lives? What about all of the lives, innocent lives, that they have taken because of these abortion mills known as Planned Parenthood? They want to keep on funding those. Do those lives matter? Of course not to them. They don't matter at all to them. They want to say Black Lives Matter. I don't think lives matter at all to them. And they want to scare you into thinking, well, Black Lives Matter, you're going to get shot dead in the streets by a police if you get pulled over. There's fascinating statistics on this. There's fascinating statistics. You know that 90 to 95%, there's a study out of Michigan State, shows that 90 to 95% of the people, of the civilians who were shot by the cops, were either attacking the cops or attacking somebody else. So you take the 2018 numbers, right? 2018 numbers, 215 black citizens shot dead by the cops. All right, so 90 to 95% of them were attacking cops or attacking somebody else. That means that 10.7, so 10 or 11 people were not attacking the cops or attacking civilians. So that's a statistical anomaly. The fact of the matter is that blacks are not being gunned down, innocent blacks are not being gunned down in mass numbers by the cops, but they want to scare you into thinking that they are. They want to scare you into thinking that you can't drive down the street without being attacked by the cops, and that's simply not the case. That's simply not the case, and I have been trying to tell, I talk to black youth and I talk to people, trying to explain, don't argue with the cop when you get pulled over. Right. Don't argue with the cop. Don't give the cop lip. Don't give the cop attitude. Just comply. And if the cop is in the wrong, you can settle it in court. Yeah. Right? It's exactly. Do not play court in the street, and do not try to play these cops in the street. You will not end up in a good situation if you try to argue with the cop. So just settle it in court and respect the cop and comply, and you will be fine. And I've been trying to tell people this, and they're saying, well, you know what, well, white people can get away with it. It's a different situation. It's a different situation. And white people should be respectful to the cops as well. But we're in a situation where we have to comply, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it to have your life taken away, or even your physical safety taken away, just because you want to get the upper leg in the situation. It's not worth it. And so, they want to say that's the, blacks that are being abused by the cops. I guarantee you, if you just are respectful, if you just do what you're supposed to do, and then you can win in court later. If the cop was in the wrong, I guarantee you will have a sense of justice if you just do it the right way and don't try to do it in the middle of the street. And certainly don't try to run away. Certainly don't try to hit the cop. Or certainly don't try to take his gun like Michael Brown did. That's what started the whole Black Lives Matter thing, is Michael Brown tried to take the gun from the cop. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? You're trying to take away the cop's weapon? So, I'm told, this is xenophobia. I'm told that it's racism. And that's what, how many of you guys have been told that you are, I've been called a white supremacist. Like, really, guys? Yeah. You're going to call me a white supremacist? The people who don't call me a white supremacist, how many of you guys have been called, they love to call you Uncle Tom. They love to call you Coon. They love to call you Uncle Ruckus. And I've been called the N-word with the hard R by white liberals. And you're supposed to be the tolerance. And it's because of things, I said at the last Turning Point speech, we are a country where we speak English, all right? We're a country where we speak English, and they say that's xenophobic. How is that xenophobic? In a country where literally there's so many diverse individuals, there's so many diverse opinions, there's so many diverse ethnicities and a number of things that make us disparate, the one thing where we can come together is language. So why is that a xenophobic thing to say? I think we should all speak the same language. That's the only place where we can come together. So I think it's an important thing to stress our culture. It's an important thing to stress where we can actually come together. It's an important thing to denounce the radicals in the Democrat Party who are trying to divide us, who are trying to separate us, who are trying to hold us down and admit we are all Americans, we believe in the same values, and the people who want to hold us down, the people who are in the Democrat Party, who literally since the days of slavery, since the days of Jim Crow, since the days of literally Barack Obama, where blacks have not been seen as equal, are over. And the era of Donald Trump has proved that we can rise up. The era of Donald Trump has proved that we can actually make something of ourselves, that we can get jobs, that we can lift ourselves out of our bootstraps, and that we can do what is necessary to save our communities. And you guys are the ones who are actually going to accomplish it. You guys are the ones who are going to do it. And you guys are the ones who are going to be the future of this country. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, if you can convince enough of your community that we are the future, that we are the ones who are actually going to be able to change this country, and ensure that a Democrat politician is never elected again, then this country can change for the better. And I think Donald Trump is just the beginning. I think we're just at the beginning of this movement. And I think going forward, this country will never be the same if you guys keep up the fight. Thank you guys. I want to take a few questions if you guys want to ask a few questions for today. I can barely see anything, so it's like there's like a sea of darkness, but no, I don't know. Literally. I just see shit. I'm gonna stop. All right, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Renee Jackson. Sorry in advance if my voice shakes. I'm still learning how to talk in front of people. I'm going to give like a little background because it does have to do with my question. I grew up in El Paso, Texas. Hey. So I grew up 10 minutes from the border, went there frequently as a child, dental work, anything like that. You know, I grew up on both sides of the border. And I know that you touched on like immigration and we don't want illegal immigration. I completely agree with that. My grandparents came here legally. They immigrated legally from Mexico and have given us more than we can imagine, my family, more than we can imagine, all the opportunities. I thank God for them every day. But my question would be like, I grew up with a legal family. Like I said, we believe in legal immigration, but I also grew up with a lot of illegal immigrants as well. And my question is like, where does compassion come into play? Because, you know, we say all the time as conservatives, we want you here. We want you here. I don't exactly know the process for legal immigration, but my dad works in the Border Patrol, so I have, you know, both sides of the spectrum. Yeah, so I know that what they do, like the Border Patrol, they are amazing. They do good work. All the lies from the left, it's all lies, by the way. But I just don't know, like, what is America? Do you think that we need like a reform in our immigration system in order to show more compassion to the Latinos that are suffering across the border?
No, it's a great question because, you know, we can get up here on stage and we can say, you know, we need to take care of illegal immigration and, you know, we need to close the border and shut it all down. But, you know, I grew up in Los Angeles, so, you know, I know, you know, I'm friends with and, you know, have been around illegal immigrants. And they're real people, you know, they are real people. I think the fault comes from, you know, a country where we've set up a system where we kind of say, well, you can come in, you know, you can come in and live, but then, you know, we're going to deport you eventually. And I think the solution is a system where it's very clear to people who are in, you know, in Mexico and the Northern Triangle, you can't come in illegally. We're just not going to tolerate it. And then you don't end up with those situations where you have illegal immigrants being integrated into the system, where, you know, you become friends with them and you know them because it's inevitable. I grew up in Los Angeles. I lived in Texas. You know, they're very much a part of the fabric of America, and I think that's the problem. Is that we've kind of had this system where we can tell them, oh, you can come here illegally, and we're not really going to do anything. And we've created a system where it's, you know, where now we have to tell them, no, you've got to go. And they've said, well, I've created a life here. And I've created a life for myself and my children. And it's tragic, but at the end of the day, it is, we are a nation of laws. And we have to be a nation of laws. And we have to be able to say who we can let into this country and who we cannot. And I think at this point we have to say we're going to end this system where we kind of tolerate this illegal immigration into our country. And we have to end this system where we say you can kind of live here in the shadows and we'll give you citizenship. It has to end. And then that makes it very clear to people in other countries that you can't come here illegally. If you want to come to America, you have to do it the legal way. I'll go to this side, then I'll go to you.
Hi, my name is Neva, and one of the things I love is about being conservative is about telling about personal responsibility, because I'm a library assistant and I work with teens, and I always feel like personal responsibility goes for everybody, including the media, because I feel like if anybody who's not doing that, it's definitely the media.
There's no personal responsibility in the media.
Do you ever think that the media will actually sit there and say, you know what? After Trump leaves, like, maybe we were wrong, maybe we would just sit there and just,
No.
we did the wrong
No,
thing.
and I'll tell you why. Because if you remember after the 2016 election, the New York Times came out with a piece and they said, we got this so wrong, we were completely out, we don't know what we got wrong, but we're going to do some introspection. We're going to do an intertaxonomy and figure out what we got wrong about the American people. that we thought Hillary was going to win, and she obviously didn't, and thank God she didn't. But
Hallelujah.
they said that's what they're going to do. Then maybe 3 or 4 days later, they were back to their old faking attacks on Donald Trump. They were back to their old shenanigans. They were back to making up stories about the president and this administration. And so they clearly didn't, and they're clearly not interested in actually doing an honest introspection into themselves. So no, I don't think there's ever going to be a point. I think they are part of the resistance. I think that I would love for them to admit that actually are partisan actors, but I don't think they're going to. And I would love them to do that, but I just don't see it happening.
Thank you.
All right, go to this side.
Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm an HR professional and aspiring politician today. I wanted to know, thinking about governance in the future, the left has a utopia in their head of a socialized everything, free everything. If we're going to think about the rights utopia, is there such a thing as privatized everything, anarcho-capitalism, and how far do we take that? Should we have anything based on taxes?
I think it's there's an intellectual discussion that is fascinating on that topic. Privatized everything. The founders, when they originally envisioned the country, we had the Articles of Confederation, and that was way too little government, and that it didn't work, and it was basically anarchy. And so they were trying to figure out exactly how much government do we have to implement in order to be a success. And the Constitution was a result of that. So privatized everything. I know the minarchists, there's the anarcho-capitalists. They want privatized everything. I think there is a role for government. And for instance, the border is one of those things. You have libertarians who are, saying we don't need to implement any border security because it's an infringement on people's rights. I don't think so. So I think there is a role for government in terms of protecting its citizenry, in terms of protecting us. I think law enforcement plays a role, and that government has a role in doing that. So I'm not for privatized everything, but I'm for privatizing most things. TSA, I'm not sure. That's something I have to think about. I don't know if we should privatize the TSA. However, if you look at the airports that have privatized the TSA, they seem to be more successful in actually catching wrongdoers than the joke that is the publicized TSA. So I'd consider it for sure because San Francisco. I'm trying to remember the other airports that have privatized TSA, but they seem to do much better than the people who I remember there was a guy with he had a belt that had bullet prints on it, and they told him he couldn't take that belt with him on the airplane. And then I had a knife in my bag that I completely forgot about, and they didn't catch that. So the TSA is kind of a joke. But yeah, so I'd consider privatized TSA. There's a lot of things that we could privatize. I know people, AOC's totally against privatized prisons, but there's a lot of things that we could actually consider privatizing. So it's definitely a conversation worth having.
Last question.
Last question.
Hey, John. Good afternoon. My name is Luke Koji. I'm from Dallas, Texas. So I kind of have a situation that I really want your perspective of. So I'm friending Laura. She's my dry cleaner. I've got to know Laura over a span of like a year and found out about her and her beautiful family. She has 2 little boys, a single mother. She's actually a legal alien, and unfortunately can't support her family the way she wants to. I'm not sure how the immigration system works, but is there a way that she can become a legal alien? If so,
Is there a way she can become what?
an American citizen.
Gotcha.
She's already a legal alien.
I think you told me she wasn't illegal.
It's kind of bad, right? And if so, how would you start that conversation?
It's you have a number of politicians who are talking about pathway to citizenship. It's hard because, like I said earlier, these people are real people. They're not just these vagrant criminals who come in.
She's a sweet lady. She's so nice.
But she should have come here
Legally.
legally. The minute she didn't come here legally, she set herself up for failure. And at a certain point, we have to be a nation of laws. And so you hear that, and liberals love to do this. Liberals love to give individual stories where they, oh, sweet, you watch the Democrat debates, and it's like, oh, like I met a sweet little woman, and Andrea, she has a condition, and she has no eyelids, and she can't function. And you're supposed to feel bad for them. But you can't do that. You have to be a nation of laws. And at the end of the day, she did not come here legally, and because she did not come here legally, she can't stay. She can't stay. She can apply to actually, come here legally, but you can't take people, you can't take individuals and dangle their stories in front of people and use that as a way to append our laws. That's not how it works. That's not how it should work. That's not how it should work. All right, guys, I have 30 seconds left, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Team USA. Thank you, Black America, so much. God bless you. God bless the United States. And God bless President Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
That was John Miller. He gives a White House brief over on The Blaze. We have up next
I am so glad that I was denied.
Angela King.
You know why? Because I had to discover my greatness. I didn't sit at home and collect a check. I didn't get content. You know what I did? I got on my feet. Right. I started my own business. Today I have a publishing company. I publish over 100 authors all over the world. Absolutely. I am a proud Black conservative. So many beautiful Black and brown faces in the audience. Give yourself a round of applause. Absolutely, for being courageous, for being bold, for refusing to be silenced, and for fighting for not only your voice, but for fighting for America. Way to go. First, before I get started today, we want to spend a very, very special thank you out to Charlie Kirk, the whole staff. It was amazing that they've done to bring us together. We also want to thank none other than our president, Donald J. Trump. He was our president. I don't know if you guys have been following my Instagram page, D'Angela Stanton, but if you haven't, make sure that you have. I posted my picture with the president the other day. Well, it was yesterday, actually. I got to take a picture with the president. It just felt so amazing to finally be noticed for fighting by the people that actually count. Because a lot of people have stuff to say, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of them are just naysayers. They don't want to see you do great anyway. So here's the thing. Today I want to discuss that we are victors. We are not victims.
Yeah.
Well, Angela, what do you mean by victors? Listen, I've been there, right? I've been to the bottom. I lived in the gutter. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I've been to prison. I ran the streets. I know and identify with the Black struggle. I've had every reason to give up and not keep pressing forward, right? A convicted felon, a single mother, didn't have an education. I had every reason to believe that I was a failure until I said, you know what? I believe that I can speak things into existence. Just like people can speak bad things over their lives, they can speak great things over their lives as well. So I started waking up and looking in the mirror every day and debunking every lie that had ever been spoken over my life. I knew that when they told me I'd never get a publishing deal, I knew that I would. I kept pressing because every no meant that one day somebody would tell me yes. And then if they didn't give me a publishing deal, I decided, you know what I'll do? I'll open my own publishing company. I just sell my own books. Who are they to tell us that we aren't great or that we can't be great?
Yeah.
Who are we to believe the lies? Who are we to believe the lies? Because if you accept failure, then that's what you get. You will get absolute failure. So me starting my own business is when I realized, wait a minute, I can succeed, right? Somebody told us a lie. And so they haven't really given us a lot of information when it comes to having access to financial opportunities. How many of you would agree? Right? So what do we have to do? We have to search. Because right now we have what? The internet. The information is out there. It's available for all of us at the tips of our fingers. So that's what I did. I started researching. I went online to figure out how to start a business. Then I went online to figure out how to market a business. Then I went online and searched for startup funds. Like everything is there, you just have to apply yourself. So at this point, there are no excuses for failure. If I can stand before you, someone that has been in prison, someone that was chained to a bed during childbirth with the sheriff watching, someone who was released from prison with a $25 check and a bus ticket, this is all I had in life. Look at where I am today. If I can do it, what's holding anybody else back? How come we can't be great? Well, Angela, what do you mean? A lot of people tell me when I work with people in criminal justice reform, they say, well, I don't have the education. I don't have the know-how. I've got a criminal background. Many of us haven't realized that we already have gifts that are stored down in us. We just haven't discovered our greatness. A lot of times it doesn't take having to get a whole bunch of education and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on lipstick on you. The red lipstick does it every time. That's my girl, thank you. So, I say to myself over and over again, it's ways that we can find out and get access to this information and discover what our gifts are. So when I was in prison, I wrote my first book because this was the time where I was broken, right? I needed to discover who I was. And I looked at my mirror because during this time, when I was notified of my mother's death, all I could do was look in the mirror at myself and cry because I wanted to figure out, how did I end up here? Because none of us, when we're children and they ask you that question, they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many of us say we want to be convicted felons or we want to go to prison?
Nobody.
Nobody. So there are things that happen, right? Environmental factors, right? Things that happen along the way that can put you on a path to prison. For me, personally, I've been sexually abused by a family member. So of course I started running away, looking for love in all of the wrong places, got involved with all of the wrong people. But none of that is an excuse or none of that's able to stop me from being great. I refuse to allow my past to determine my future. So let's talk about some of the things that I've done after I've overcome all of these obstacles. When I wrote my first book in prison, I walked around prison every single day with a pen and pad. And it was important for me to record the stories of other women. A lot of people say, well, Angela, what made you want to do that? Well, I was so broken, right, in my own situation that I needed to find hope, that I needed to have some type of faith. And every time I interviewed a woman that was incarcerated with me, when I heard their stories, and their stories were 10 times worse than mine, guess what it did for me? It made me realize, one, I wasn't the only one that has experienced hardship in life, right? And things could always be worse. There is always someone out there with the worse situation than yours, right? So I wrote the book, I got out, and I said, wait a minute, let me try to see if I can go for a publishing deal. Nobody wanted to listen to me. Nobody wanted to give me that opportunity. Why? Can anybody guess? Because I was a convicted felon. Everybody thought that I was a nobody, right? But I gave myself that opportunity. Started that book. It became a national bestseller overnight, right? It's made at #1 on Amazon 3 different times. Absolutely. Make sure that you all pick up the book. But I said all of that to say, don't let people determine your future. Politics. How did I get into politics? Wow, this is so funny. I never thought I'd be standing here debating politics because I was a staunch Democrat. I don't even know why I was a Democrat. I don't know if it was because my mother or my grandmother was a Democrat. It just seemed like it was the thing to do, right or wrong. Everybody else was being a Democrat, so that's what we thought we were going to do. So once I did finally get released from prison, and I needed government assistance, I couldn't get government assistance because I was a convicted felon. So here I am. Nobody wants to give me a job. Absolutely no one, will hire me. I can't get any government assistance. I can't get any Section 8. Not that it was a great thing, or not that I even wanted it. It was because that I needed it. But so when that happened to me, I said, wait a minute. I've got to figure out a way to become successful. I have to figure out a way to take care of my children, because here's the thing, here's the trick, recidivism. They want you to get out and not be able to get a job so you can commit crimes and go back to prison. How many of you know that's how that door of recidivism works? People get out, they can't get a job, they can't find employment, so they do what they do in order to survive. It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me because I realized my God-given gift was writing. I started a publishing company Today, I'm financially free. With my organization, the American King Foundation, that's exactly what we do. We go around the schools, we go around the prisons, we help people find out what their God-given gifts are and turn those into a profitable business. People think that it's hard. People have skills. You know how to cook, you can start a catering business. You know how to paint, you can start a painting business. All it's about is finding out the God-given gifts and talents that you already have and using those to build on and grow into something successful. Absolutely. As a people, we're already natural-born hustlers. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Please forgive me. But, I mean, you know, we'll draw something, then we'll be outside selling our drawings. We even know how to go get bottles of water and profit off of bottles of water. We will find a way to make a way out of no way. So it is important for us to remember that, but to make sure that we do it legally. Illegal immigration. This is how I got in the fight. I was sitting there probably about 8 months ago with my godmother, Alveda King. Let's give it up for Alveda. Civil rights leader, the pro-life activist. And we were watching how everyone in America was like fighting for illegal immigrants to be reunited at the border. And I thought about it, I said, wait a minute, I said, now, I think this is just American law. I don't think that this just applies to them. Because I remember being locked inside of a prison back in 2005, giving birth to my daughter, chained to a bed with the sheriff watching, and then having my daughter stripped right out of my arms. Trump wasn't president. So we couldn't blame Trump for family separation. And then I realized, wait a minute, family separation is not just at the border. This has been going on the whole time. Name one American, anybody in here, I'll give you $1 million right now, if you can name one American that's ever been arrested and has gone to prison and had their children with them and haven't been separated from their family. Anybody?
Cricket check.
Cricket. Now I have a question, and probably everybody in here is going to raise their hand. How many of you know someone, have someone that is in prison right now, or know someone that is currently incarcerated, separated from their family? How many of you know someone that has a family member or a loved one that's incarcerated? Just about every hand in here goes up. Let me tell you how important criminal justice reform is, and the First Step Act is for the black community and what President Donald Trump has done. Outside of the fact that my story influenced him to put a clause in the law where women will no longer be chained to the bed during childbirth. Let's give that. That's awesome. Absolutely. But the citizen that Donald Trump put in place is kind of almost like a form of reparations for black America. Let me tell you how that is. If I don't have my freedom, I can't start a business. If I don't have my freedom, I can't provide for my family. I need my freedom in order to be free. So when black people in the black community are coming together to talk about reparations, the first thing we need to do is get our black men out of prison. When we're talking about fatherless communities and the fact that the fatherlessness in America, in black America, the rate is so high, let's talk about why. Because why? They're in prison. They're locked up. If they're not in prison, they're what? Dead, right? So
Yeah.
we lose on every side. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for a new horizon when it comes to black America. Don't be afraid to speak truth. Don't be afraid, right, to stand on the front line, because here's the thing. The Democrats know that in 30 years from now, at the rate we're going with abortion, that the black vote won't even count.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they're fighting so hard for illegal immigrants to come in. There are too many factors, right, that we have against us. Our numbers are extremely low. Let's talk about it. We've got mass incarceration. We cannot reproduce without the black male. We have mass incarceration, right, is one. Gang violence is another, because they're killing each other in the streets. We also have police-involved shootings with black men. We also have homosexuality, because homosexuality does not reproduce. Two men will not have babies, so we're not reproducing. In addition to that, abortion. We have all of these factors, right, that are stunning our population. 46% of our population is already gone. Why are we still sacrificing our children to the abortion mills? Any real leader knows that there is strength in numbers. Hello? Strength strength in numbers. So 30 years from now, when they say, well, what happened? How come the black vote doesn't count? Well, we aborted all our votes, right? So it's time for us to stand up. How can we stand and fight on the front line of injustice, right? And fight against racism and oppression, but we don't have a problem with oppressing our own seeds? Hello, somebody. How unfair is it to murder someone before they even have a chance to live?
Yeah.
So with all of those things plaguing our community, I have a very special guest that I wanted to bring up today. I want to introduce you all to Stet Frazier. I'm not sure where he is exactly in the crowd, but if Stet would come up to the stage. Stet Frazier is a First Step Act recipient who got released because of President Donald Trump.
All
And
right,
I think
come on.
they kind of got the times mixed up. He thought that we were supposed to be on at 5 o'clock, so he may actually not even be in here. Honey, if you can go out and see if you can find Stet for me, that'd be great. I'm sorry, but I want Stet to come up and share his story because I want you all to understand how criminal justice reform and what President Donald Trump has done, how it impacts our community, and how we benefit from this. Stet served 25 years from a first offense. We're talking about mass incarceration. This is the '94 crime bill that was pushed by Joe Biden. Joe Biden wrote the law.
Yeah.
And Bill Clinton pushed the law through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, the same people, Black America, you guys are going to get behind the same person that's responsible for the majority of us growing up without fathers. I raised 3 boys without a father. I know the impact of children growing up without a father. I know the impact of young women growing up without a father. It is something that is going to continue to hurt us because here's the thing. I also have a child that identifies with being a gay male, and I love my son to death. But I thought about that thing for a minute. I said, could it be because he didn't have any male influence? Could it be because all he saw was a strong mother fighting hard to raise him? Could it be because he envies me? He loves everything about me. He sees strength. He looks at me. So that's another reason why we need to focus on the importance of making sure that our fathers are in home. There's nothing wrong with being married, right? There's nothing wrong with being married. I'm going to bring up Stet now. I think they found him. Come on up. Everybody give Stet Frazier.
Welcome home.
So listen, I want Stet, let's just talk for a minute to the audience, right?
Yes.
Stet, tell us a little bit about your sentencing, how much time you did, how you felt about being separated from your children having to grow up fatherless, and how you feel about what President Donald Trump has done with the First Step Act.
Well, first of all, I'm grateful to be here with you today. I'm a first-time offender that served 25 years on a life sentence, no record, under the crack cocaine disparity that Congress today no target one group of people. Under the First Step Act, what President Trump did was he pulled the Fair Sentencing Act that was changed the ratio from 100 to 1 to 18 to 1. Now, many people don't understand what 100 to 1 crack cocaine disparity signify. For 1 kilogram of crack cocaine, that street value is $40,000 to $50,000, would be equivalent to 150 kilograms of powder cocaine that street values millions of dollars. This is the law that I was placed under. This is the law that thousands remain in the federal system under today. Congress has admitted that this law targets one group of people. President Trump took President Obama's bill that was passed August 3rd, 2010, the Fair Sentencing Act. This law was passed, but it excluded those of us that were suffering in prison under a law that target one people. So President Trump took this law, placed it under the First Step Act, and made it retroactive. That's why I stand today. But today, there remain thousands that I represent. In 2016, I began to petition Congress on behalf of everybody under the crack cocaine disparity. I sent Congress a 34-page argument showing that everything that you initially said about the crack cocaine, you was wrong. When will you right the wrong? You admit that it target one group of people. You admit that it is race-based, but you fail to right the wrong. There are literally thousands of black men and women sitting in federal prison today under this disparity that nobody is willing to right the wrong. So here's what I'm asking for y'all support. Let's ask President Trump to do something that no other president has done. If Congress refused to give him a bill, because President Obama in 2010 said to Congress, within 5 years, give me a more up-to-date response, they failed to do it. So once Congress reaffirmed a position to go 18-1, then they establish their intent and their purpose. So once you establish your intent and purpose, now if Congress refuses to give the president a bill, he can use executive power and eliminate this disparity and make it 1-to-1. And pull blacks from under a disparity that's been in existence since 1986. Today, because I'm speaking up, possibly, the government, the prosecutor, has placed my name back on the list. Based on appeals court to try to place me back in prison should the case go against me in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Possibly because I came out running, talking, which I will not shut up. On behalf of those under the crack cocaine disparity, we asking for y'all support. I represent them. Let's ask President Trump to eliminate this disparity and put Congress on the spot. Tell them, give me a bill. And if they refuse to give a bill, then do something that no Republican or Democrat has done. And if they come into office because we're being released, then they will try to get the benefit of what he started. No, finish the job. Ask him to eliminate this crack cocaine disparity. And if he eliminates this disparity, hands down, who can open their mouth to that?
That's right.
Thank you. And I'm so grateful for Angela and the American King Foundation for giving me a platform when I walked out of the prison system, which I was released August 2nd. In my being released, I had asked the judge for 10 additional days, and that did a big stir up, even in the prison, because they wanted to know why would I want to stay in prison 10 additional days. But I went to prison when I was 26. I spent 25 years in there, so that's my family. And they stood with me to petition Congress, so I wanted to assure those that I was leaving behind that I would fight for you as I've been fighting for you. I will raise my voice to this injustice. So I ask for your support in us asking President Trump to eliminate this disparity. This is 30-something years. This is uncalled for. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Everybody can get a round of applause. Awesome. So we have something that is very, very special for you guys. I hadn't told anybody, but how many of you, by a show of hands, have been watching the MAGA Challenge trend all over the internet? Right? How many of you wrote verses to the MAGA Challenge? How many of you are bold enough to get up here and rip the mic for your verse? I want to see what you got. How many of you are bold enough to do it? Okay, listen, we're going to do the MAGA Challenge, but one thing before we get started. Remember you all, I told you the story about giving birth to my daughter chained to a bed. I want you all to know that when you believe in that, when you have faith, that God restores. Imani, stand up and raise your hand. Wave to everybody. God is a restorer. Well, get ready. We've got a very special performance coming up for you guys. I was on the internet and I saw this kid and he was just rapping. And I know you guys know that I've had a reality show. I've been on BET, From the Bottom Up, produced by Queen Latifah. So I've been in that secular world. And I know how dangerous lyrics can be to our community. I know how we can contribute to our own demise through music because we have children repeating things that we're saying in our lyrics. And so I saw this guy rapping and all of his words were so positive and everything that he said hit dead on. And I saw one of his videos. I said, listen, send me the beat. I'm finna remix it. He was like, what? He was like, no, you're not. He was like, you don't do that, Angela. I can't see you rapping. I said, send me the beat. He sent me the beat. Probably about 20 minutes later, I was on the internet. I had released my verse. It went absolutely viral. So guys, stay tuned. We got something very special coming up in 1 second.
That's what I'm saying. No. Yeah.
Prayer Bryce are coming out in a minute here. Yeah.
I am not a victim, I am not a prince. They keep taking shots, so I'm messing my best. Instead of wear my MAGA head, I told them say this. I'm on the biggest MAGA head, I did it just to flex. Every day just to make the boys upset. I can be controlled by the body of a jet. They call me a coon, I'm not a prince. They don't get to choose my name, at least they go some prince. You can't bear the fact, man, you think they can control. Tell me what you want, all these white liberals trying to tell me who I am. But with me and Bruce, cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat, I lost a few friends. The radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. But tell me I'm a victim, cause the power in my hand.
Cause they know that we run the world. Hey, I'm hating on me. They saying white is what you wanna be. Inside the chemistry and make enough noise to save the baby. And give my people all welfare. They say I'm crazy and that I don't care. Hey, wake up. Can't make up. We got 100 different genders. It don't matter about Trump is the winner.
All these white liberals trying to tell me who I am. Don't me in groups cause I'm my own man. I said I was a Democrat, I lost a few. Radio not playing me, I lost a few. Don't tell me I'm a victim cause the power in my hand.
I got the power in my head, 2020 vision, cause I know that Trump will win it. And I hope the liberals listen, and they vote for socialism. I don't even wanna talk, I'm talking patriotism. And now I'm out here on a mission, spreading common sense and trying to end up the division. They got no sense of self, so they push the populism. Thank you for your service, and that's what I'm making it.
You got Chandler Trump.
Around, we on the brink of left in our economy. We want to live in harmony. The futures understand, and there will be no disharmony. The media is fake, and they cannot be trusted. That's why we essential when our country goes above and drink. As president, others will see our hope and love and unity. Changing and generations coming. You better watch yourself. Something quite nuts. We're not strong nation. We think it was simple. We all must divide. Let's all come together.
Wow. I ain't expect that one. Yeah.
When you're a black person and you get these messages from the White House, it says that you are the victim. It says that you need us to succeed, you need us to achieve, you need this ever-expanding welfare state to be able to make something of yourself. And I got sick of that message of victimhood that they continue to push to black Americans over and over again for the last 3 decades of my life. respect all that. We talk so much about the culture, and that was culture. That was culture, y'all. That was, and I'm gonna tell you, so I wasn't even gonna start with this story, but my boy Bryson was right out in front, rocking the big MAGA hat, right? And you know, we talk about these white liberals trying to tell us who we are. And this guy walked inside and he just said, embarrassing. And just walked by, and at first I wanted to read him, but I said, no, we're not doing that here. I'm not reading here. I'm gonna read those Democrats, but I'm not gonna read people up the hallway. But look, culture is what it's all about. And when somebody is looking down on you, and when somebody is saying that's embarrassing, or when somebody is saying that's whatever, that's when you know you're affecting the culture. So give it up for that man. He even got your boy to spin a MAGA sign. I ain't rapped a bar in my life. And y'all all saw I ain't rapped a bar in my life, but I felt it.
You killed it.
I wrote it, and that is what's going on in the culture. So let me ask you something. I'm going to say a couple of words. I'm going to say Uncle Tom. I'm going to say coon. I'm going to say bootlicker. I'm going to say house.
That's right.
Who in this room has been called those names before?
2 hands up.
Every day.
2 hands up right here.
Every day of my
Same
life.
Here. And I realized very recently that when you have people in our community calling us Uncle Tom, coon, bootlicker, whatever, they are the same ones that are trying to hold us down. That said, remember when they used to say, oh, acting white? Was like, oh, you act white. Oh, you talk white. Oh, you do this because you want to learn, because you want to achieve, because you want to better yourself. You know what? They said all of that stuff about me when I was in high school, and now they ask me what it's like to be on TV. So let me tell you something. Don't ever let somebody's words stop you from thinking what you want to think, believing what you want to believe, and achieving what you want to believe, achieving what you want to achieve. And let me tell you something, and I don't usually address a lot of the haters, and I don't usually address a lot of that stuff, but there's a lot of division going on right now, and a lot of people try to come for me online, and they try to say, oh, Rob, you know, he's Dominican, or he's, Caribbean, or he's Nigerian, or he's something, and I got nothing but love for all of my Black immigrant brothers and sisters in here, right? I'm gonna preface it with that, but I have been lucky and blessed enough to have been born Black American right here in the USA. And I say blessed because I am blessed enough to live in a place where I can achieve, to live in a place that is limitless into what I can do with my life. And let me tell you a little bit of something about my background, because I really want to get into this, and I really want to let you know that your boy is not coming from a private school, and your boy is not coming from a trust fund, and your boy is not coming from some family money. I am a first-generation college student. I'm the first person in my family to get a bachelor's degree, let alone a master's degree, but it's not even about that. I'm from Ohio. Akron, Ohio. I always rep Akron, Ohio, and I met a young lady that's running for office in my district, and we're gonna work together. We're gonna work. Because when I say I went to Bucto High School, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. The high school that I went to is one of the most failing high schools in Ohio. They are rated an F by the Department of Education, the state authority in Ohio. So I'm gonna tell you where I came from, and I'm gonna tell you what I know. So when I was in elementary school, my mother tells me this story all the time. She said, when I went to that kindergarten and I saw you sitting down and all of those kids were running around like crazy, she said, oh no, she yanked me right out of there and she took me to a school across town. And that's where I got my elementary school education. But I came back to where I was living and I went to middle school and high school. So I know what it is like to go to a failing school. I know what it is like to go to a school that's not teaching kids anything. I know what it is like to sit next to classmates who graduated barely knowing how to freaking spell their names, let alone geography, let alone world history. I am still embarrassed to this day of some things that I don't know about our history. So I take the time to try to educate myself. throughout every realm that I possibly can. Because if you went to a messed up, failing school like I did, you realize that there's so many resources out here to educate yourself. And I was talking with Charlie Kirk, with our amazing founder, and I was talking with him last week in Phoenix. And he said, you know, Rob, the Republicans would win the black vote with 5 words. You know what those 5 words are? They are school choice for black kids. Because school choice empowers parents to make the decision about where they want their kids to go. And it doesn't empower failing teachers. It doesn't continue to push more money into failing schools, to continue to pay more failing teachers, to continue to not educate our African American youth. Period. So that is really important. So I went to a failing school, and when I'm giving you this message, I want you to realize where I came from. Because it ain't a silver spoon, and it ain't a trust fund. And that's the last time I'm ever gonna address that.
Say it.
Now, I went to the military right out of high school. I served in the United States Army for 5 years. It is one of the biggest blessings of my life to have been able to serve this great nation. But I'm not gonna lie and I'm not gonna be phony and tell you that at 17 years old, having barely graduated high school, that I was just so full of love for America and everything else, and I knew how great this country was, and I knew how much opportunity there was, that I decided to join the military. I decided to join the military because when you go back to my hometown right now, and I don't want to talk bad about my hometown, there are great people there, my family still lives there, I will be there next weekend. But you have a lot of kids and a lot of young men out there that do not have options. And when they do not have options, and when they do not have anywhere to go, and when they do not have an opportunity to do work, to do real fulfilling work that fulfills their pockets and their heart and their souls, they turn to the streets and they turn to drugs. And I realize that because I know that because I see it every time I go back to Akron, Ohio. So I knew that that couldn't be the path for me. So I decided to join the military. Joined the military at 17 years old, barely out of high school. Now, if you follow me on Instagram at Rob Smith Online, you will know that I have made no secret about the fact that I used to be heavy. And when I went in the military, I was heavy. All right? I could not do anything. I couldn't make the road marches. I couldn't do anything physically. And what happened was we were going on these runs and we were going on these road marches, and I kept on falling out. I kept on falling behind in the runs. I couldn't make it. I was too heavy, I was too sweaty, I couldn't move, I puked all over my drill sergeants. It was just not a good look. All right, just not a good look. That person is not the person that you see before you here right now. But what I learned through keeping on failing is that you gotta get knocked down 9 times and get up 10, and that's what I did. It is what I had to do because there was literally no other choice. And for everybody in this room, there is no other choice but to believe that you can win, but to believe that you have what it takes in you to win. And my drill sergeant gave me a choice, and this is a true story. Big, mean dudes, you know, white, southern, quote unquote, just big, mean guys. And you know, I'm the only black kid in the platoon, and I stick out like a sore thumb. But these guys motivated me. And they gave me a choice. They said, either you go home right now, or you get it together and start making these runs and start pulling something out and start making a difference here. And I looked one of these drill sergeants in his eye and I said, I don't have anywhere else to go. Because I can't go back to Akron, Ohio, because there's nothing for me there. And if I go back there, I'm going to end up like the same people that I was trying to get away from.
Yeah.
Right? So he gave me that choice. I made the choice to continue on. and I kept getting knocked down, but you know what? I started getting knocked down less. And I started making the runs more for longer. And I wasn't making them all the way till the end, but I started making them for a little bit longer, and then longer and longer and longer until I made those runs. And I was passing people on the runs and passing people on the road marches and graduating and getting that infantry blue cord from the United States Army, right? And what that taught me is that I'm not here to tell you that you're not going to go through struggle. I'm not going to tell you that your life is not going to be hard. I'm not going to tell you that everything is going to be free and easy. But that struggle is what helps you learn how to fight for something. And every single person in this room is fighting for something. What you are fighting for is not me, not even to the people to your left or your right, but you are fighting for every single person that is coming up after you so that they don't have to deal with being called a coon or a bootlicker or whatever. So that they can realize that it's okay to be a free thinker. And you know what? You all know how I stand. You all know how I feel about this president. You all know how I'm a Republican. But you have to realize that it's not even about necessarily being a Republican. It's just that you don't have to be a Democrat, right? You don't have to be a Democrat. You don't have to think a certain way. And the service that I had in the military, what it taught me was a love of country. What it taught me was a love for America. And there are so many people out there, and man, I get some X. I want to say something else. This is a PG-13 show.
Take your time.
For the kids. I get some stuff, and let me tell you something. People cannot understand how people that look like most of the people in this room can love this country. People cannot understand, nor do they even want to comprehend why somebody that looks like me and loves like me and whatever could love this country. But what I told them is that when I served in the United States military, I saw the best of what this country is. I saw the best of what this country can be. And all of the people that the media tries to demonize as racist, as Trump supporters are this, or Republicans are that, or conservatives are this, I just did not believe it. Because this doesn't sound like the white guys that I served next to. This doesn't sound like those people. And I know that those people were conservative, and I wasn't even conservative back then. But I knew that this doesn't sound like those people. So I started to realize that something was wrong with this messaging that I was getting. And what I also realized is that the people who make a lot of money lecturing white people about white privilege and talking about how awful America is and talking about how much it oppresses black people and talking about how much this president oppresses black people, they sure do seem to love our United States of America capitalist system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they cash those checks. They cash those checks. And you know, I heard a crazy story about somebody that makes upwards of $100,000 a month talking to white, like a black person talking to white people about like white privilege or white supremacy or something like that. And you know what, y'all got me going. Because there's another thing that they say about us is that they always say these mainstream black conservatives right now, oh, Candace Owens, she's a grifter. Oh, Rob Smith is a grifter. Oh, David Harris Jr. is a grifter. Oh, King Face is a grifter. Oh, Isaiah Washington is a grifter. Oh, all these people are grifters. No, the biggest grift going on is blacks on the left.
Yeah.
That stuff
Yeah.
to all people. That's the biggest grift in the world.
Yeah. 100.
If there is a bigger grift than that, let me know. Because I'm telling you, they're making more money than all of us, right? So ask yourself when you're getting these messages from these people, what it's really all about. At 19 years old, I deployed to Iraq. And for most of us, we don't really think about life and death every day. It's not something that we think about, even though we all know in the back of our minds that we can go at any time. But when I served in Iraq and when I was early in the deployment, I had to think about life and death more than any 19-year-old really should. And I remember the night before we had our first kind of like attack. So we were stationed in a place called Samara, which was in Iraq, because we did a convoy up, close to the beginning of the invasion. So we did that convoy up, and I was talking with a friend of mine at the time, basically one of my closest friends in the military. And I remember pulling guard that night before we were supposed to go out, and I remember asking him, "Are we going to die tomorrow?" Because I didn't know if that was going to be my last day on this earth. I really did not. The attack was fine. We did what we had to do. Nobody got hurt, nobody got injured. But I did see combat in Iraq. I did have people firing at me. And let me tell you something. When you have dodged bullets more than once, and you've seen your life flash before your eyes more than once, you start thinking about how you want to use the life that God has given you. And that is what pushes me to use my voice. And that is the message that I want to give to all of you, to think about what you want to do on this earth, what you want to do in this world, because every single person in here has a voice. And everybody's going to use it in a different way. Some people may want to go out there and argue with people on Fox News and do Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Some people, there was a young lady at the leadership dinner the other night. She was an educator, and that's how she uses her voice, and that's how she uses her platform. And that's what I want to empower you all to do, because none of us is promised tomorrow. I learned that lesson very young, and it drives me every single day, and I want to impart that to all of you. So now let's talk about symbolism. And let's talk about all of your smiling, USA-loving faces at the White House.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the symbolism of that moment, the symbolism of young Black Americans saying, "No more will I be bullied. No more will I not stand up for what I believe in." And being addressed by the President of the United States, who loves seeing every single one of you, loves seeing your faces, loves talking to you. And that symbolism is so powerful that the media that we have that is controlled by the left will do everything in their power to hide it.
Yeah.
They will do everything in their power to make every single person in this room, including myself, seem like we are anomalies. That either they ignore us and pretend that we don't exist, or they work overtime to try to discredit us, or they work overtime to try to sow discord in this movement of all of these people that you see, like Angela Kane, like Isaiah, like King Face, like Bryson, like all of these people who are aligned together. Now, we may think differently on a couple of different things, but we know what this is all about, and we're aligned together, and they will do everything in the world to sow discord, not only between the bold names, but between everybody that comes up under. I have seen it with my own 2 eyes and heard it with my own 2 ears over the past 72 hours. The enemy will do whatever he can to separate people.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about the culture. And y'all got a crash course in the culture right before I came up. And it's so important, because when we look at the things that we're seeing, they don't really reflect our values anymore. And I'm not even talking about the baby mama and the love and hip hop stuff. I'm talking about people that are supposed to be quote unquote leaders in our community that preach nothing but victimhood. They preach to us nothing but "I can't." If there are 2 words in the English language that I despise more than "I can't," I don't know what they are. I hate hearing "I can't." I hate somebody telling me that I can't, because when somebody tells me that I can, I'm going to show them that I will, and then I do. All right? And there are so many messages that get out to us, and they say, I can't because I'm Black, and I can't because I'm this, and I can't because I went to a bad school, and I can't do this. It drives me nuts.
Yes.
And I know that there is nobody in this room that can't do an MF thing in this world.
Yeah,
And I had to use the abbreviation.
it's all right.
It's hard to be PG-13. Lord, let me tell you. And I'm gonna wrap it up with one more story. And then I wanna talk to you guys because I really wanna hear your questions and I really wanna have time to talk to each and every one of you. And I'm gonna do a meet and greet out here right afterwards. And if you want a selfie or take a picture or whatever, every single person in this room, I swear to you that I wanna meet you all because you have no idea how inspirational it is for even the bold names to be in this space right now with all of you. And the final story I'm going to tell you is that a year and a half ago, and I always use this in quotes, I never like to say I was nobody because everybody's somebody, but in the grand scheme of things, you're quote unquote nobody. And I was thinking to myself, I was visiting my best friend in Las Vegas, and I was producing at a time and for an unnamed entity. Because I've worked for every digital media place, I've worked for whatever you name it, and I will not name this place, but I was producing for them. And I talked to one of the executives, and I said, you know what? I'm a conservative, and this has been happening over the past couple of years, and I finally feel kind of like emboldened to be public about this, because I was working kind of for these liberal outlets, and I felt like I couldn't be myself, and I was always had to spin things to the left, and I realized that I can't make the impact in this world that I want to make via being a producer or being a writer. Like, I have to go out and do, and the only way I can go out and do is to do it via social media, because the best thing about living in 2019 right now is that this phone right here, this is Angela's phone, but this phone, somebody's phone, probably Angela's. But everything that you want to do in your life, it was somebody's phone. That was real smooth, right? It was smooth. So what I have to say is that everything that you want to do in your life is right there in the palm of your hand. Right there in the palm of your hand. And you can make something out of nothing with that. A year and a half ago, there was 0 following on social media. There was 0 Twitter, 0 Instagram, 0 Facebook, 0 trips to the White House, 0 nothing. And I made the decision to come out and do this because I had been telling myself, even though I tell you guys that you can, and I hate I can't, I had been telling myself that I couldn't for so many years. I had been waiting for permission. And if I could tell you anything, it is that thing that you have in your hands that you're texting with and doing whatever means that you don't have to wait for permission from nobody. You can do it yourself. And that's what I decided to do. And this man that is a very high-level executive at an unnamed media company told me that I said, look, man, I got this idea. I'm a conservative, and this has been happening, and I'm angry about the illegal immigration, and I'm angry about the Democrats because I'm tired of all this. You know, I know I'm black and I'm gay, and I know that people may not be into this, but I think I'm going to come out as a conservative because I think that America's ready for it. I think that the country's ready for it, and I think I should just do this. And I'm in his office, and I'm so excited. And he's like, oh my God. No, they're not ready for this. No, you need to go be a reporter in North Dakota somewhere. You need to start out, you need to work yourself up. And let me tell you something, if I listened to every person in the world that told me that I couldn't do something, I would have never left Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I don't want either of you guys to do this as well. And I saw this person in New York City, and he came up to me and he was like, man, I've been seeing you everywhere nowadays. Like, I've seen you on these other networks, I've seen you here, I've seen you there. He said, man, I guess not listening to me was the best decision you ever made. And I was like, you damn right. It was not listening to you telling me that I can't do something that's the best decision that I ever made, because I always knew that I could do it myself. And I don't even know why I asked your permission in the first place. Because I had already made the decision in my mind to do it. So And wrapping this up, what I don't want to hear is I can't. I don't want to hear I can't because I'm black, I can't because I'm gay, I can't because I'm poor, I can't because I'm working class, I can't because I'm lower middle class, I can't because none of my family ever went to college, I can't because of this, I can't because of that. I want to hear I can because I'm black, I can because I'm brilliant, I can because I was lucky and blessed and privileged enough to be born right here in the United States of America, where you can do anything that you want to do. And if you don't believe it, and if you ever doubt it, look to all of the people that you have managed to meet over the past couple of days, and look to yourself, and look to where you were at yesterday. And if you ever think that you can't do something, remember that. Remember all of these people, and remember every single person that you saw here on this stage this weekend. And I thank you all.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. Just gonna do a meet and greet, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. We can do questions and stuff like that too, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it into it here. I may come back in a minute.
He was causing trouble earlier.
I may come back in a minute. So thank y'all for joining. I appreciate it. Maybe I'll be on tonight, maybe. But I thank y'all for joining. Peace.